If you've been longing to drive a Tesla on Indian roads, you must have been disappointed by the developments in recent years. In January of 2022, responding to an Indian's tweet asking him for updates on when Tesla would launch in India, Tesla CEO Elon Musk had said the EV maker was still working through a lot of challenges with the government. But the situation has improved. That's because Tesla has reportedly changed its approach. It is considering a plan to manufacture its EVs in India, moving away from its earlier demand of lowering the import duty on completely built units first. These duties stand at 100% for cars costing $40,000 or more and 60% for those costing less. At present, the most affordable Tesla, the Model 3, starts at slightly more than $40,000 in the US market. The Financial Express reported on May 18th that a team from Tesla had a meeting with key ministries and officials in the Prime Minister's office over a proposal for manufacturing in India. The report says while Tesla could still ask for some duty concessions, government officials have proposed a different approach to meet its demand. The government will offer import duty concessions on components required for domestic manufacturing, instead of allowing Tesla to import completely built units at concessional duty. This would be similar to how the production-linked incentive scheme for mobile devices works. According to a separate Reuters report, the factory Tesla is proposing to set up in India will build EVs for both domestic sales and exports. But hold on, your wait for a Tesla has only gotten a little shorter, since there are many challenges the car maker will face while entering the Indian market.
They need to get customer acceptance, they need to set up a service network, and it's electric vehicles, so charging infrastructure, a lot of other aspects are there. One, entry into any market, in India and market in particular for a new OE is challenging. Electric vehicle adds to the challenge. And if it's in a limited price range, the share of market or the amount of numbers that you can sell are limited. And therefore, if you want to get scale, you have to be a significant player in that segment, which is also challenging.
First challenge is that India is a price-sensitive market, and to have a foothold here, they have to reduce the prices. Second, setting up a huge supply chain in India, they need to qualify vendors and suppliers. Third most challenging problem is hiring local talent and upskilling them to their quality standards. And fourth major challenge is regulations. There are a lot of complaints and regulations they have to comply in India, and to understand that and comply with all of them, that's going to be a challenge and time consuming for them.
Whether or not Tesla can finally drive into India still depends on the pricing of its EVs. And whether or not Tesla models become more affordable will depend on whether it can actually build EVs in India and whether it can launch models priced less than its Model 3. The first is a function of how solid the business case is for setting up production in India, since consumers in India cannot match the purchasing power of their Chinese counterparts. China accounted for over 30% of Tesla's global sales in the first quarter of 2023.
Looking at India and manufacturing in India, it has, in the current geopolitical context, it makes sense. Because looking at what the US administration and the US is offering and encouraging firms that have engagements in China to also, onshore or to look at, plus one strategy, it makes quite a lot of sense for Tesla to consider India as a manufacturing base, not necessarily only for the Indian market, but also looking at the ASEAN market, and also if the EU-India FTA comes in, leveraging that FTA also for parts made in India, and of course, looking at the Indian market.
With regard to more affordable models that can capture a bigger slice of the Indian market, Tesla is expected to launch a smaller electric hatchback, which has been described as the $25,000 Tesla or the Tesla Model 2. Without considering import duties that would be applicable if it is still built outside India, such an EV could cost an estimated 20 lakh rupees under the current exchange rate. This could be a game changer in the Indian market, especially if built locally. According to one analysis, well-off Indians are mostly going for cars in the 20 to 25 lakh rupees range, with the segment clocking a compound annual growth rate of more than 80% over 2019-2022. It accounted for over 5%, or about 200,000 units of the cars sold in 2022, and almost 7% of the car sales in the first 2 months of 2023. Even if Tesla overshoots this range by 4 to 5 lakh rupees, experts say its brand value and mystique would see it through.
Looking at the Indian market specifically, the Indian companies like Tata and Mahindra in a certain segment, you have, let's say, some Korean and you have the Chinese companies who are there. And then, like you said, the Volvo, BMW, and Mercedes, and some other small players who are in this space. So if you're looking at an offering, right, and which segment you are actually going to position your vehicle, you have to choose it very, very carefully. And therefore, this new segment that they're looking at, which is the hatchback that you have talked about, makes good sense.
Tesla could also benefit if the PLI scheme for EVs and advanced chemistry cell batteries is modified, as reports suggest it could be. But the bottom line remains pricing, which could be a challenge. The Tesla Model 3 was introduced in 2016 for a price below $35,000. But Tesla was able to deliver the EV at that price for only a short period of time. A similar situation with the future Model 2 could upset many of its plans in India.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.